Tonight. My next guest is in town for the annual meeting of the New York State Association of Counties. He increased his name recognition beyond the Western New York county he leads when he unwittingly became Carl Palladino's running mate in the race for governor. And now New Yorkers who backed that ticket actually are divided over Andrew Cuomo's budget, which has the support of the head of the state Conservative Party and of Palladino's former campaign manager. Chautauqua County Executive Greg Edwards is joining me in the studio tonight to discuss the impact of Cuomo's budget on local governments. Thank you very much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Liz. I'm glad to be here in Albany and have the chance to spend some time with you.
It's good to see you. So, okay, NYSEC, obviously the talk of the conference, and we've spoken to Steve Aquaria, who's the head of the association, is largely mandate relief. In fact, yesterday we saw the mayors and other local officials who we jokingly refer to as the Tin Cup Brigade because they come back to the legislature and they say, please, sir, please restore our cuts. In fact, now they're just providing a united front and saying, look, we understand it's hard. Don't give us the money back necessarily because we know we got to give, but we need some relief on the back end from mandates. And counties are on board with that too.
I'm thrilled to see that group of leaders, mayors from across the state, take that position. And Mayor in Chautauqua County, Sam Teresi from Jamestown, is the president of that association. That's exactly the type of approach they should take. That's similar to the approach that NYSEC's taking. We're taking it the next step. We're saying we have solutions to your problems, Governor Cuomo. We can help you. We can be your partner in driving down the cost of delivering government and in turn directly reducing property taxes at the local level.
Okay.
We know cuts have to take place. Everybody needs to share in this. I believe the mayors have offered. I know the county leaders have offered to be his partner.
Okay, well, here's the problem. There's two problems here. One, there's a mandate relief task force out there. It's out there. It's going to come back and Steve Aquaria is on it. There are other local elected officials who are on it. It's coming back on March 1st with some recommendations. Today, we heard some frustration from Dean Skelos, the GOP leader in the Senate, saying, you know, we don't have a lot to work with here in terms of time. He accused the governor of putting out his budget late. Actually, constitutionally was mandated to do it by February 1st, which he did on February 1st. The time squeeze, is that something that you're worried about in terms of making decisions rapidly and getting the legislature getting forced into doing something maybe too quickly?
I understand all too well the compression of time and how hard it is to get things done. But there are no brighter people out there than those that are right now willing to commit to help the governor and the legislature deliver this budget on time. I believe they just have to marshal the forces. What I'm concerned about, while this Mandate Reform Commission and the Medicaid Committee, whatever it is good and sounds really good, my understanding they've had 2 meetings.
Right. No
agenda, no action items, no homework to take back with them to really digest the problem, the vastness of the problem. NYSEC, and credit to Steve Aquaria and our team, we're not waiting for a committee that I'm questioning what they're going to be able to accomplish in that time frame. We have over 100 suggestions right here, and the mandate reform ideas from the people who deliver the work, us, that the state can have and put to work.
So you're saying, you know what, the task force, forget it. Just take this.
I'm saying if the task force wants to have real, live, implement these sorts of solutions to the problems, here's our suggestions. You can have it right now. We don't have to wait for the next committee meeting. Here you go. Put it to work. My fear is that there may be a calculated effort going on here because there's no conversation about what they're talking about. If you're working on a committee and you should give and take, you'll be reaching out to people to fine-tune those ideas. Will this work in your region? Will this work to cut your property taxes?
A calculated effort by whom and how?
I'm afraid that the time has been compressed. You've got meetings without agendas, no work product. What's going to happen here, we have a statutory deadline that's coming our way at the state level. What I don't want to see happen is some rush to deliver at that statutory deadline and then have an incomplete, ineffective product that then someone, whoever it could be, could fall back on and say, well, I tried, but this is the best we can do.
Well,
the solutions are here. People know what the solutions are. It's picking from that category of tough decisions. What are you willing to put your muscle behind? What are you willing to put your leverage, your voice behind? Because we're all going to have to take cuts. Counties are ready to take cuts. We're ready to step up. We've been doing
Isn't
it.
pension reform also a form of mandate relief? I mean, that's something that you're seeing Mayor Bloomberg talk about. You're seeing the governor talk about taking a very hard line on pensions with state workers. I mean, that's a form of mandate relief, is it not?
I am 100% in favor of mandate relief on the pension side. I know from real life, live experience with my employees that they could benefit from a defined contribution plan. But I had our NISAC meeting yesterday. Comptroller DiNapoli came and said, oh, no, defined benefit is good. There is not going to be any change to pension. Defined benefit is a good thing. That couldn't be further apart, in my opinion, from what the reality is and where we need to be, because that may be the comptroller's position, but that's not how it works on the ground. We need fundamental, dramatic change to our pension system. It needs to more closely align with the private sector. And that has to happen now, not 10 years from now.
Here, the big problem, though, is you may have this lovely book full of recommendations, but the governor wasn't at your conference to receive it.
Well, it was a very frustrating day for county leaders across the state. And I've heard this expressed without regard to political affiliation, that for the first time in 20 years, the governor's partners were in town with an open invitation to their governor to come partner together. If there was ever a time we should be partnering with the governor, since we deliver the vast majority of state services on the ground in counties, this is the year that our governor should have been there with us, collectively, across the board. There was almost 900 people from counties across the state available to hear directly from our governor what he believes we ought to do. Not through a spokesperson, not through a document, but if true change is what you need, if we are really in crisis, that's when you reach out to your partners and say, let's band together. What can we agree on today to move forward on? Unfortunately, that didn't take place. It certainly gave Steve Aquario, our executive director, an opportunity to communicate in that time frame that was left for the governor to us about what we need to do. We know what that is. Now,
okay, and he was, as I think that I mentioned last night on the show, breakfasting with the Assembly Republicans this morning. He's continuing this charm offensive. He had the Senate Democrats last night. I mean, he's, with all due respect to the county executives, and I'm sure that you all want to be partners, he needs to get the legislature to pass the budget. I mean, you guys don't vote on the budget.
We don't. We represent every single person in New York State. Every single person in New York State was represented in that room today, waiting to hear from their governor and be able to respond to encouragement. We don't need a charm offensive. We need our governor to step up and say, counties, we want to be your partner. Here's what we can do. What can you help us do and get it done? Our assembly and our senators are here every day. This is where they work from when they're in session and many days other than that.
Right.
This is the one time per year all the county elected officials and their support is here in the retirement this way, because it's important for us to be here. It's important for us to band together collectively, the governor, the assembly, the Senate, county leaders, to get this done.
So here's the last question. There is some divide among the Tea Party advocates who were very supportive of Carl Palladino and yourself about whether or not to support Andrew Cuomo's budget. For example, the campaign manager, Michael Caputo, is on board. He's sending out emails. He's encouraging people. Then there are some advocates who are anti. You, I can't really tell where you are. You obviously are upset that the governor didn't show up. But what about your position on his budget proposal as it stands, with even the holes that we don't know about yet?
I credit the governor with taking a bold stand about cutting mandates and cutting some of the costs. I fully support that. That's the only way. That's the only path to success for New York State. And so I'm encouraged there. I believe he has moved the ball further down the field to where we need to be. And so I think he would find a great deal of support across the state at the county level in doing that. But my concern is what next? I wrote an article for the NISAC Journal that said that if the governor would do what we did in Chautauqua County, it would equate to significant improvements in service and much less taxes. And so I think we're attempting to lead by example. I need this governor to be successful, because if he's not successful, then our future is much less than it could be. Now, that sure cuts across party lines, but the reality is everyone in New York State needs this governor to be successful, with the help of the Senate, with the help of the Assembly, in cutting these programs that are putting us behind, that are killing us, that are driving people out of the state. And that sounds, bold maybe. It sounds like just a platitude. But here's the examples, 100 of them, of where spending cuts could be made, improvements in service, and we'd all be better at the end of the day. That's why the governor needs to be partnering with the counties.
Okay, well, we will see if he hears the clarion call. In the meantime, I want to thank you, Greg Edwards. It's good to see you.
My pleasure. Look forward to getting together soon.